crafters, this is Margaret, and I wanted to come to you tonight and share with you a quick design, just some updates or FYI. As many of you know that have watched my channel, that I did a tutorial earlier about these stars and being able to use them on your table, if you like, for decoration, or if you want to put them as ornaments on your Christmas tree. But what I wanted to show you is just kind of an easy way or easy pattern for making them smaller or larger. So it's something that I wanted to do to do it for myself. So this is a 4-inch star. This is the 6-inch star, but I also wanted to share with you that if you have a really good glimmer paper, that you can do that with that as well. Now this is a Simon Says stamp glitter cardstock, and I also have done this before with a Brutus Monroe. My suggestion would be, though, is that if I was going to do this again, I probably would stick more to a silver or a white glitter versus the colored glitters, because they turn out okay, but some of the edges you can see it's a little bit white here, a little bit white there. And I suppose if I got a red marker, it might be okay and everything might work out well. But glitter cardstock is a little bit more finicky, takes longer to dry when you're gluing it together, and you have to be a little bit slower or more careful. And especially one of the things that I didn't do is I did not use a bone folder on it. I just creased it with my fingers, so just to make it easier. This little 4-inch one went together so quickly and so easily. You think because it's smaller it might be more difficult. I actually found that this one was the easiest one to fold. But the other thing that I liked about this one, and this is the 8-inch one, is I like the fact that it's light colored paper, and it's hard to find cardstock or pattern paper that doesn't have some kind of white core in it. So what's nice about this is this paper didn't crack at all, so it was good. This was by Authentique, and actually I believe it's from last year, their baking line. I was trying to use up some of my stash, and it turned out, I thought it went together so easily. And then this one here is the 8x8 paper. Now you might be wondering what all this wire is on here. Well, it's my new other little tip that I have done. So I will talk to you about that in a minute. The other thing that I wanted to share about with this glitter cardstock is I always like to use art glitter glue for putting anything and everything together. But what happened with this is that it really took so long. And when I was putting this one together, I wasn't doing my other little trick that I'm going to show you here. And so I actually took and put some score tape on these edges, and it worked a little bit better for me. The only thing that didn't do so well is going together. I have a hole here, but I think what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to take, I have some little holly leaves and beads, so I'm going to throw, I think, a holly bead and leaf in there. Let me see if I've got that handy. Oh, just a second here, sorry. So there's nothing to say that you have to decorate these stars, or you don't have to. I think it's completely up to you what you think looks good. But I have something like this that I might put on. You know, I'll put it on so that this is the top of the star, and I think it looks rather cute. I could even probably put some other floral pieces on that as well, and then I could put a hole through this with a needle and just put a lightweight string, whether it's fish line or some other thinner type of string. Something like that would work. The other thing that might be very pretty is if I did put a thin string into there, but then tied a ribbon around the top of this. giving it just a little bit more in a bow, giving it a little bit more personality all the way along. So you can do a lot of different things, be as creative as you'd like to be for making these stars. So going back to my 8x8, this was the first time that I made an 8x8. And one of the things that I ended up doing is taking some wire, because I like to use my art glitter glue. It needs to have just a little bit more time for it to set up. So if you use a liquid glue that does not set up quickly, which art glitter glue sets up more quickly than other, oh my goodness, than other glues, I would not use that liquid glue. I would use score tape, or I would use dots or something like that. But what I did is I just took my wire and I wrapped it around somewhat tight so that it held it together until the glue was thoroughly dry. And when I was having issues with this one, I went ahead and put the wire on that, and I had the wire on this one, and it's actually very easy to put together. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you how I put this together. I'm going to show you with the 4-inch one, and just to give you a quick idea. I'm also going to, I will by tomorrow or the next day, I'll link the tutorial for this in my other one that I had done. But let's take a look at those, or at how we put this together, and if we can't do that real quickly. So if you don't need to go to that other tutorial, because this will work just fine for you. That's great. So one of the things that I also liked about all these little stars is that if I took an 8x8 paper pad, I could get 2 ornaments, because you need, you know, to make 4 stars, or I'm sorry, to make 2 stars, you need to make 4 of these. So you could make 2 out of an 8x8 pad, where with a 6x6 is 1, and the 8x8 is just 1, you know, 1 out of that. But otherwise, if you do a 4x4, you can make 2 out of that and make good use of your paper. So what I did is made sure I cut this 4x4, and what I'm going to do is, it's much easier than scoring. I would just go ahead and fold. Now, this is not a craft design that I would suggest to use a really thick, heavyweight cardstock. I would use something that's a little bit lighter, and I'm not saying to use the lightest weight, but something that's a little bit lighter. And the reason for that is because if it's too heavy, you're going to get cracks in your cardstock. I've not done this with like Graphic 45, but I find a lot with Graphic 45. I love G45 papers, don't get me wrong. But for something like this, I find that when I do a lot of bending and folding of that paper, other than maybe a rounded fold, I do get some cracking on that paper. But that's just my experience. So for making the 4x4, we're going to fold up one side, and we're going to fold up on the other side. And then we're going to turn it sideways, and we're going to fold it corner to corner. And we're going to try to get this as pointy as possible. Again, this is paper crafting. If you don't get it perfect, it doesn't really matter quite that much. Just do the best that you can do. And then we're going to go corner to corner on the other one as well. So now we have this so that we have it folded like that, like this, and like that. So we have basically diamonds. Let's do it one more time. I'm going to fold this up, match those ends. I just do my finger scoring, or burnishing, excuse me, and press that down. Then I match corner to corner. Do the best that I can in making that a nice pointed piece of paper. And the same thing on this side. I don't think that scoring helps it anymore. I've done it both ways. I find that this is much better than the other way. So one of the other differences is that we have to, for each size, make cuts on these a little bit differently. So if you look at the first tutorial that I did, is the 6-inch is you have to cut up 1 1/4 inch. On an 8-inch, you need to cut up 1 1/2 inches, and I'll show you where. But on a 4-inch, you need to cut up only 1 inch. And if you see our seams, like on these sides, the 4 sides that were matched end to end, because I've done quite a few of these, I just started cutting the strips. It makes it faster. I don't have to really measure so much. Put a dot on your cut line. I'm doing it on this side only because it's a lighter color. The other side would be more difficult for me to see where to cut. So I do that on, going to do that on all 4 lines, not the other lines, not the ones that go this way and like this. We're only going to do it on this line and these lines. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Once we start folding them, you'll see a little bit clearer about where it is. So on a 4 by 4, you want to cut up 1 inch, and on the 6 by 6, if you're doing a 6 by 6, you want to cut up 1 1/4 inch, and if you're doing an 8 by 8, you want to cut up 1 1/2. And I would imagine if you're going to do a 10 by 10, it would be a 1 3/4 cut. You might have to see how that would work out. Sometimes as it gets bigger, you might have to go a little more. So what I'm going to do is go right up on that score line, right to my mark. So I'm not cutting to the center, I'm just cutting to my mark. And you can erase those pencil marks when you're done, if you want. I haven't really worried about them too much. Again, right up on your score line on these 4 sides. Not on the corner ones, but on the sides. Okay, so we have both of these cut. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take and turn this over. And what we're going to do is take and fold in. And actually, like I said, I found that doing the 4-inch ones were a little bit easier to fold, even though you would think they weren't, but they seem to be easier for me to fold. So I go and fold each one of these sides in. I'm just going to go around and do that for all the sides, making sure that I'm matching this up. This is a fine point over here. I'm matching this up to the score line right there, right along that score line inside. And doing each side so that it makes a star point on this as I go around. And it's not a bad idea that if you want to try this out on some copy paper or something first, not a bad idea. I think I tried it out on some white cardstock the first time I did it. And I thought these made cute little inexpensive gifts that you could give to friends, neighbors, just something a little different. And you could use it as a package ornament with a name tag or gift tag on the back, because you could do it one-sided and then glue a to or from on the back of these. So you don't necessarily have to do it exactly this way. So once we've gotten this all done, I'm going to go ahead and do this one, and then I'm just going to go ahead and speed this up while I do it, and I'll talk to you as soon as I'm done. Okay, so now that we have this one folded, what we're going to do is we're going to open up this side, and we're going to take, you can put score tape on it, or you can use your art glitter glue, whatever you would prefer. And I just put some glue on the side of that. I lift up this side, and then I match those up on the corner, and making this one, I didn't fold very well, but it'll still be okay on the front when we're done. So I just put the art glitter glue on there, and I put my finger inside here. I've also taken and put on the bigger ones, I've used my clothespins to hold it for a little bit, but otherwise I just hold it and rub it, and the 4-inch one seems to go a little bit easier and quicker. So I go around and I do that on all of these sides, and I try to match them as close to the edge as possible. It will give you a little bit of a cleaner backside to the star as they are put together. One of the other things I was thinking about doing is I wondered how this might look if I wanted to not make it out of pattern paper, but made it out of solid cardstock, and then just covered the main areas with cardstock. So if any of you do that, I just haven't taken the time to try doing it, please let me know and put it on the page on Margaret Knob Designs. I'd love to see if it looks good. The other thing that I do is my little tool here is it's got a nice end on it, and it's a good way to put something down to the end. You can use a pencil, but this little tool seems to work real good for me. And then this one. And you can see that they tend to bunch up just a little bit. I try to just get the points to be a little bit cleaner and better as I'm gluing them together. And you can see that that's that side. All right, let me finish this one up and we'll take a look at it when it's all put together. All right, as we're finishing this up now, you can see that this is all together and we've got everything glued down well. Now, when I put these together, this is the way that I've done. Again, I've had people put glue dots on the corners. I've seen people put score tape on here. I just put some art glitter glue along these edges right along here. And art glitter glue dries clear. If I see a lot sticking out, I'll wipe it off, but if I don't, then I let it dry clear. And so once I've done it on these corners all the way around, I take and put this in so that it fits together, trying to close any holes that I find. And it's not honestly going to glue down on every single spot that I covered it. So I take some, again, wipe some of it away, but I know that it's going to catch on some sides. So I'm going to kind of push it down, flatten it out a little bit, push it down, flatten it out a little bit. And then I'm going to take my wire. I think I have a smaller piece here. All my things rustling. And what I do is I take my wire and I wrap it around twice so that I can get a little bit tighter fit on it. And I'm not sure if you can see it, this wire is really thin. It's just a floral wire, quite honestly. And you can get some that have padding on it and some of them that don't. And so that's what I do. And that way, once I feel that it's dry, I let it sit for a good 20 minutes. And if I see I have a little bit of a hole here, and if I can move it, great, and look and see if it didn't change anything else. So that's awesome. And I'll just leave this sit like that for a little while because this works better for me. I tried, I used ribbon before, I used some other twine, but this wire makes it a lot easier to do it one-handed. So that is our tutorial on doing these stars. Again, I'll put the links in tomorrow for, by tomorrow for these stars. And the other information, the cardstock, again, is from Authentique. I bought it at Country Craft Creations. This is Simon Says Stamp glitter paper. The other one, I think I said to you before, was Brutus Monroe glitter paper. I really like his glitter paper. It's very nice and sturdy as well. So, and it's not against any other glitter paper. Those are the only glitter papers that I've used that have worked well. So, but there could be other ones that would work just as well. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Otherwise, please subscribe.